Hi, this is Matthew Almeida and welcome to my channel. The conclave to elect a new pope will begin today. Who will it be? Will it be an American? Will it be a European? Will it be African? Will it be Asian? So many questions. The conclave always gives us surprises. Cardinal, whom we think may be elected, turns out that he is not elected. People whom consider as candidates, probable candidates, are not even in the list sometimes. And this is the most surprising election, not only because they are electing a monarch of a city-state, but a spiritual leader for over 1.3 billion Catholics throughout the world. And this is the most interesting election where everyone has their eyes on, because Catholics are spread out on almost all the countries. The church has a great influence in almost all the countries globally. The church holds institutions, clinics, schools, orphanages, homes for the old, the homes for patients with various diseases where people just keep these people away, like AIDS, leprosy, etc. Even in our country, India, a lot of schools, hospitals, clinics, homes for the orphans, for the aged are run by Catholic institutions or Catholic religious societies or Catholics themselves. And therefore, my dear friends, it is sad to see that even after so many things, some people do not realize the importance of the figure like Pope. When Pope Francis died on 21st April, our country, India, declared 3 days mourning. The flag had to be half hoisted, half mast. But yet, in the comment section on social media, we had those people who do not understand things, and they said why we should do this, how is the Pope relevant to the country, and so on and so forth. Now, of course, I don't expect people to honor the Pope the way I do or the Catholics do. Neither do I expect that they revere him so much. But they should at least understand the key important roles which the Pope plays globally as a global leader. And the Vatican is always seen as a neutral place for everyone to come and resolve their problems, to come and resolve issues between warring nations. When Cuba and America was about to be at war, it was Pope Francis who intervened and stopped it. Even before the war between Israel and Palestine would happen 2 years back, earlier Pope Francis called on the presidents of both the nations and had peace talks. When leaders of Sudan, South Sudan, were fighting with each other, there was no peace. Pope Francis worked for it. The Vatican became a place for diplomatic talks. Even at his funeral, when President Donald Trump and President Zelensky of Ukraine met to resolve some things so that there could be peace in Ukraine and a stop for war between Russia and Ukraine. So, my dear friends, these people need to understand what is the role of the Pope or the Church or the Vatican itself is. The Vatican is a permanent observer in the United Nations, and therefore it takes part in very, very important meetings and is also a part of many missions of the United Nations for human rights, for human rehabilitation and upliftment of poor people. Vatican itself contributes to around more than 60 countries which are very poor to build hospitals, schools, etc. there. If you just Google out and find out where the money of the Vatican goes, you will realize that the Vatican itself has its own missions in various countries which are poor, feeding them, giving them shelter, taking care of the poor and the sick. This is what the Vatican does. And therefore, it's a kind request to people like this, that if you do not honor the Pope, if you do not know much, at least you can just shut your mouth. Because when you have to speak, you do not speak. थोडे वस्तू कोंकणीन सांगता. पाप साहेब मेलो तेन्ना आमच्या देशांत दुख पुरगटूंक आमचो जो झेंडो आसा भारताचो तो अर्द्या खांब्यार उबोवंक लायल्लो. कित्याक एक खुणा की आमी दूख मानत दूख दवरला म्हणून. पूण थोडे लोक असले आसात जे विचारता कित्याक दवरपाक जाय, तो कित्याक गरजेचो, आमच्या देशाक कित्याक लागता, जाल्यार पाप साहेब असलो मनीस वातिकन जे धाकले संवसारांतले सगळ्यान ल्हान शार आसा ते कित्याक गरजेचें तें हांकां कळना. पाप साहेब फकत कातोलिकांचो फुडारीच न्हय, पूण वातिकन जो देश आसा धाकटो देश ताचो मुख्य. आनी इतलें आसून वातिकन जे आसा हो आमची कातोलीक पवित्र सभा आसा ती कितल्याशाच गरीब देशांनी वावुरता, थंय इस्कॉलां बांदता, हॉस्पिटलां बांदता, अनाथ भुरग्यांक आश्रमां बांदता, जाणट्यांक आश्रमां बांदता. ह्यो ज्यो माद्री आसात, माद्री भयणी आसात, पाद्री आसात, ब्रादर आसात, हे ह्या लोकांचो कुयदाद घेतात. आनी हाका लागून गरीब गरीब देश जे आसात जंय सरकार तांकां ह्यो सवलत्यो पावंक शकना, पवित्र सभा वातिकन तांकां ही सवलत्यो दिता. तशेंच युनायटेड नेशन्स हाचोय वातिकन एक वांगडी जावन आसा, एक परमनंट ऑब्झर्वर म्हणटा तें पोझिशन ताचें आसा. आनी हाका लागून ज्यो गरजेच्यो सभा जातात तातूंत वातिकन हो आमची पवित्र सभा जी आसा पाप साहेबाचो कोणूय मुनियारी वचून तातूंत वांटो घेता. हें की ह्या लोकांक गमोंक जाय. आनी हें जर तर तांकां गमना जाल्यार तांच्यांनी मातशें तोंड बंद करून तरी ओगी रावंक जाय. कित्याक कातोलीक जे आसात चो सगळ्या संवसाराक शिपडलेले आसात, सगळ्या देशांनी शिपडलेले आसात. आनी पाप साहेब म्हणटा तो सगळ्या कातोलिकांक लागता. जाल्यार हांव एक कातोलीक कसो ह्या देशाचो नागरीक कसो म्हाका जितून ती दूख लागता, म्हज्या देशान म्हज्या सरकारान जें केलें तें एकदम बरें केलें. पूण थोड्योश्योच वस्तू असल्यो आसात जे म्हाका मानोंक ना आनी म्हाका दिसलें आयज तें उलोवंक जाय. There are certain things which really troubled me and I felt I should speak about it. You see, when the Pope died, the first people to come and have public mourning time or prayer services were people from the BJP. भाजपातले जायते लोक जायत्या सेक्टरांनी तांच्या जावं मडगांवां, पणजे हांगा थंय तांच्यांनी पाप साहेबाच्या मरणाचेर दूख दाखोवंक तांच्यांनी मागण्याच्यो रिती केल्यो, मिटिंगी केल्यो, न्यूजार आयलें, बरें आसा. पूण हांकां हांव एक प्रश्न विचारूंक सोदतां. जेन्ना भाजपाक तेंकोन इश्टागतीन आसलेले जे संघटन आसात जशें बजरंग दल, विश्व हिंदू परिशद, हेर सगळें आनी अदीक करून RSS, जेन्ना हे क्रिस्तांवांच्या इगॉर्जांनी वचून तांकां त्रास करतात, इस्टरा दिसा गुजराताक जें घडलें, मीस चलताले वो कितें प्रेयर मिटींग चलताली इस्टरा दिसा, थंय हे लोक वचून नारे घालून ते बंद उडयलें, हें की तांकां मानता? असल्यो घडण्यो घडटा तेन्ना हे भाजपाचे लोक तांच्या आड कित्याक उलयना? आमच्या गोंयानूच तुमी पळयात, बजरंग दल आनी हेर हेर संघ आसात ते जावं ते जाणटे म्हातारे धवे केंसांचे वकलां घालून वो आनी कोणूय येवन पाद्रींच्या आड उलयतात, इगर्जेच्या आड उलयतात, धर्मांतरण करून व्हडलो वासपूस उजो करतात. तेन्ना ह्या भाजपाच्या लोकांची तोंडां कित्याक बंद उरता? कित्याक तांचेर एक्शन जायना? कित्याक आमकां क्रिस्तांवांक रस्त्यार येवन रस्ते बंद करून सरकाराचेर दबाव घालचो पडटा की त्या उमक्या मनशाक भितर घालात? Why is it, if the BJP cares so much about Christians in India, why is it that we get the news that churches are being destroyed, Christians are persecuted, prayer meetings are interrupted? Just on the Easter day, there were people from the Sangh, some Sangh, who went and disrupted a prayer meeting on Easter Sunday. Why does leaders from the BJP keep quiet at such people? Why don't they take swift actions? Why is it that such incidents have escalated in the past 10 years when the BJP is in power? Why is it happening? And on the day when the Pope dies, you try to show that you are with the people. Very good, it's a good sign. But can we see other actions as well? Can we see action taken on these Sanghis? People like this who do troubles like these, who trouble the Christians, speak against the priest, speak nonsense about Christian beliefs and saints, be it an old man with white hair, grey hair, or wearing a speck, or be it a young fellow, whoever it is, can we see some action taken against them? Why is it on social media even now we see hate speeches against Christians, calling Goan Catholics as Portuguese pigs? rice bag converts, and so on and so forth. Can I expect some logic in what the people say and what the people do? Can we expect such hypocrisy to just disappear once and for all? Otherwise, isn't it better that you never do such things and try to show that you are with us, but at the same time you backstab us? आमच्या सांगाता असाय म्हणून तुम्ही दाखवतात, पण वयल्यान तुम्ही बोलतेच करतात. पोप फ्रांसीस जिवा असताना ताका कितले फावटी तुम्ही भारतान हाडटा म्हटलें, ते कित्याक जावना? इलेक्शनाची रॅली आता तेन्नाच ताची नाव काडून काडून ताका भारतान हाडटले, गोंयान हाडटले अशें अशें म्हणीत रावले. आजून हाडूंक ना, तो मरून गेलो. चल, ताच्या भलायके खातीर ते जावंक ना जायत. पूण आतां जो नवो पाप साहेब येतलो, तो बेगीच्या बेगीन भारतान एक भोंवडी मारतलो अशें आश्वासन कोणाच्यान दिवंक जाता? Can we expect a papal visit to India soon as this election is done? The conclave may not last for too long, as the media suggests and a lot of reports suggest, and as the feeling is, it may not last for too long. Can India be the first country to go visit this Pope and land an invitation, a formal invitation with all the legal procedures complete? An invitation proposed to this Pope to visit India as soon as possible as a fulfillment of the promise which was made by our Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Pope Francis some years back. इश्टानो, आमच्या भारतांतले जायते पाप साहेब फ्रांसिसाक मेळोंक गेल्ले. सरप्रायझिंगली अजाप कशें जायते भारतीय जनता पार्टींतलेच वो तांच्या सांगाता वावरपी दुसरे पार्टींतले लोकूय ताका भेटून गेल्ले. पयलें नांव येता L.K. Advani, senior BJP leader. He also met the Pope. Then I see Sri Ravi Shankar, a spiritual leader, Hindu spiritual leader, praising the Pope. And it was nice that he sent some condolence message. We have Naveen Patnaik from Orissa who went and met the Pope. It was a nice gesture. We have various Buddhist leaders who went and met the Pope. We had our own Prime Minister who met the Pope on 2 or 3 occasions. It was a wonderful thing. And everyone, when he passed away, shared their condolence message. It was really comforting. But it will be more comforting to us to see that attacks on Christians reduce. What happened in Madhya Pradesh, in Chhattisgarh, in Jharkhand should not repeat. Where certain priests taking pilgrims around to see churches during this year of Jubilee were suddenly stopped and then they were tortured. Why are such incidences happening? Well, my dear friends, keeping all these things aside, we need to pray for the election of the new Pope. We need to pray that we have a Pope who will be faithful to the teachings of Christ, who will keep on to the traditions of the church, and yet be at the same time open the church for everyone the way Pope Francis opened the church, to be an inclusive church, so that when we determine something as sin, it is sin. But this should not be seen as exclusion or trying to keep people away, but to make them understand that the church is there for us to lead us on the path of holiness. The church plays a very, very important role, not only in area of education or medicine or healthcare and service, but also at world politics. You remember, Pope John Paul II was responsible for bringing down communism. Pope Francis himself also played a vital role in de-escalating things between Ukraine and Russia, to which he may have succeeded to little extent, and even between Israel and Palestine. Maybe because of his sickness he couldn't do much. And someone who comes now has to continue this, has to continue bringing peace in the world. But what was the greatest achievement, I would say, of Pope Francis was his diplomatic relations with China, where at least the persecution of Christians may have reduced to some extent. I'm not saying it has clearly gone, but at least China could have that little relation with the Vatican and approve the bishops, so that the Christians or Catholics remain united with the pastor, with the Pope in Rome. And so, my dear friends, let us pray for this conclave. There are many things that happen. Without the Pope in the world, it looks like there is a voice missing, a moral voice that can drive and animate us to fight for social justice and for peace in the world. So let us pray that we may have a very holy Pope. See you next time with another topic. Thank you for watching.